Today, a good deeds card is drawn and it reads, help a parent who is struggling to get a stroller down or up the stairs. Well, first of all you have to do is from a distance be like, do you need some help? If you get accepted, great. If you get rejected, dismiss yourself. Roll credits. Or wait for them to ask. I can't help you if you don't ask. But sometimes I do think about how someone may be too shy to ask, and since you are offering, they take advantage of that, given that their shyness was impeding it. But then there's also the people who maybe are very stressed with that anyway. And sometimes when they reject you, they express themselves out of that stress, and they may not be uber kind about how they're saying no, how they're declining. So I try to not even run the risk. I let my intuition guide me, because sometimes people's tones just annoy me. Of course, I should just continue with my day and go about it, but if I can avoid that altogether, I'm going to. I just don't like that, because that was my childhood. Bad tones, bad attitudes, bad characters, and I'm like, in my adult life I have full control of that shit because I like to not talk to people anyway. There's no way you can get on my nerves because I'm not gonna let you. Well, for starters, the places I frequent don't really be having stairs like that, at least not stairs that are facing the public. Anytime I see someone on a stroller, really, it's always at ground level. And even if I wished to help them, I would be a little careful about that, because although I would consider myself absolutely not a threat, considering my profile, not in any way manifesting in a way that may appear uncomfortable to anyone, I don't think people appreciate when you step into their space like that, especially when there's children involved. And I think it's reasonable for a parent to feel that way. The only stairs I encounter in my day, now that I think about it, is at my job to clock in and in my own apartment, because there's the kitchen and the, I guess, living room is downstairs, and then upstairs is where we got bathroom and the rooms. I would imagine if this parent had their own home similar to this one, that they wouldn't be having a stroller up the stairs anyway. And at work, of course, that is something that's totally not permissible. So yeah, this one, again, I feel like it's impractical. I personally would not encounter a circumstance in which I could assist with this one. And then you guys know me. In the same manner, I deem it inappropriate for me to approach a parent dealing with that as a stranger. I wouldn't want someone to be coming up to me like that anyway. Now, if I were an old lady, or if I had an extreme disability and you see me individually with a physical aid, such as a chair, crutches, something like that, then sure, by all means, offer if you can get the door, if you can lend me a hand, maybe stepping onto the sidewalk. But definitely don't approach me in situations when I may appear vulnerable. For instance, immediately stepping out of a car, because that leaves pretty much all of your valuables vulnerable. Little things like that. You just gotta be considerate of when you're offering such a thing, such a support, because sometimes you just gotta think the worst about people. I feel like I always am guided by intuition. The last time I helped someone who was disabled, it was this guy who had a walker looking type of thing. It's not your regular walker that it's like metallic and nothing but tubes. This walker, it looked more like a shopping cart, was black, and I believe it has brakes too. I was stepping out of the post office, and it's funny how the guy in front of me held the door open for me to step out, but as I saw this man already on the sidewalk, obviously making his way to the door because there's nowhere else to go, then what I did was I greeted him. I was like, "Good evening, sir. I can hold this open for you." I felt bad. I should have told him to slow down or to take his time, but when I told him I can hold the door open for you, he was delighted, of course, but he felt compelled to speed up. And I'm not gonna lie, I think that's just a natural response to that kind of kindness, because sometimes I myself want to speed up when someone is holding the door for me. And now I'm trying to train myself that we're not in a hurry. Editing exam, something I forgot to add is there are some folks who I have met over the years that they really prefer that you don't really intervene when they appear to be struggling with something, especially if they're disabled, because they, even if it takes them longer, still appreciate whatever sense of independence they still have. And they like to legit try to struggle to practice at getting better with something or to even get their exercise. So although you're offering to facilitate a process for them, for some, it's a source of power. It's a source of confidence boost. So that's something also that I think you need to consider. I personally think that's the category I would fall into, because the times that I have felt like I couldn't use something about my body, say my back, or that one time I messed up my foot, I found ways to work around it, and that made me feel better than when I'm completely able bodied. You know what I mean? And I don't mean this as an offense or to glorify a disability, right? But what I'm trying to say is that for some people, it is a joy to figure out that you can rely on yourself, your instinct, and your intellect to get by. And I can admire that too. This one, I may not necessarily embody it or perform it in the manner that this thing is suggesting, but I know for a fact that I certainly do assistive things for people, and I cannot say that I have had a negative experience doing that, of course. But I think that I have avoided that potential negative experience because I have been wise about when I choose to do it. Of course, if I'm at work, then I'll have a choice. But most of the time, if the person has been pretty capable making it to the place anyway without assistance, then I think that I like to wait for something to cue me that they're legit trapped. And for that, you just gotta be a good reader of people. And that's something I feel pretty confident about. Not to be arrogant, but as someone who spends more time observing than engaging verbally, I'm confident about that skill. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know how you feel about this one, and I'll see you soon.